Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm my husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Tonight we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode number 6. You dropped a bomb on me, baby. You dropped a bomb on me. But let's get started. What do you want to get started at tonight?
Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications, please.
Yes. Please do that.
Who was like very mild actually? Dominique and McKinley.
Yeah, it was mild.
It wasn't a lot with them. So we start with them planning their day. They got some more activities for the day, and they're going horseback riding and on a beach. And when they talked about it, I thought it was just them, but it turned out to be everybody.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother thing. But they talk about going horseback riding, and he says, "Oh, I've been horseback riding for a long time. No big deal. I'm finna go horseback riding, you know." And
but dude, he was lying. Yeah,
we find out later he was lying. He was lying. But in her vignette, you know, Dominique says her attraction level to McKinley is about a 6.5 out of 10. But she said her romantic level is at a 3 to 4. She said because it's the constant joking, which goes with the horse riding thing. Because she was like, is he serious? Is he playing? I can't tell. And so she don't really like that when I can't tell. Like, I don't know you that well to know if you're being sarcastic, if you're being serious. And she said it puts her back a bit. She don't really like it. She said, I'm not a 24/7 joking type of girl. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think some people have a limitation when you got somebody who jokes all the time. You don't know when they're serious, when they're not serious. You don't know how to take them at face value. And I think that's what she's having a problem with. Especially when it comes out or it turns out to be that you're lying about a lot of stuff. But we come to find out that a lot of that was kind of some of his insecurities. Because he's an introvert. He doesn't like to be around a lot of people. According to him.
Anyway, we see Dominique do something kind of unusual. She said, I talk to my mom every day. And so I'm getting ready to go call my mom. I'm going to FaceTime my mom on the honeymoon.
Yeah, that's weird. You FaceTime your mom on your honeymoon.
But her mom did give her some good advice. Her mom asked her, how's everything going on a scale from 1 to 10? And she was like, you know, it's going well. We're getting along. But for her, it's his apprehension to do new things is, you know, really decreased. And again, she's not sure if he be joking around about not wanting to do stuff. She doesn't know exactly where he's coming from. And she was like I'm not getting ready to coerce him into doing anything. But he said, like, if she didn't push him, you know, he would just be sitting on a beach. And so her mom was like, well, take him at face value. I mean, he's being truthful. And there's nothing wrong with sitting on the beach. She was like, I sit on the beach in Florida. I'm not sitting on the beach in Jamaica. I want to do some things. I want to be adventurous. So, but her mom just basically told her, you know, maybe he means that he really needs you to push him out of his comfort zone. So don't feel bad about that, and you know, just act accordingly.
I think she gave her some good advice. You know, but he has to be able to communicate to her. If you want to just sit on the beach, it has to be a compromise somewhere, right? She's the adventurous type. She likes to go out and do all these adventurous type things, but at the same time, he's the person where he just wants to chill. And so somewhere down the line, and somewhere you got to meet him in the middle. He has to meet her in the middle, and you can exchange times where you chill, and exchange times where you just go out there and do different things. She's an outdoors person. He married somebody who likes to be outdoors. She likes to be doing things. She married somebody who's comfortable with just sitting in the house and Netflix and chilling, or sitting on the beach and reading a book, whatever the case may be, or staring into the sun, or just sleeping all day. Can't do that. You know, you got to have a balance. Both of y'all can't be in the house sleeping all day. Somebody got to do something.
So later on, We see them chatting. He says, "Oh, I found out my wife rated me a 4." Now, how did he find that out? Because she said that in her vignette. So, either the producers are dry snitching, or she mentioned it to some of the ladies, and the ladies said it, or maybe we got some Alexis and Justin stuff going on. One of the ladies said it to their husband, and when the husband said it to him, but like, how do you know? She said it in her vignette.
Oh, she dry snitched. Somebody dry snitched. Production feeding that.
Or she might have been straight up and told him, "I rated you a 4." No lie.
She might have.
She might have, but I tend to think she didn't. But he was like, okay, I admit I lied about riding a horse before. He put it off on, I'm introverted. Like, he's trying to make up for his deficit, so he's overcompensating, which is dumb. Just if you ain't never rode a horse, you ain't never rode a horse. It just is what it is.
But he made up a whole story, though. I do tricks around this stuff. I've been riding horses since I was a kid, and I can do this and I can do that. Now, she knew he was blowing smoke up her butt. She knew he was BSing, but at the same time, he made it seem like it was very interesting. Mm-hmm. But he's old, though. You're a grown... You're 20. You're 34. What you lying for at 34 years old? That's
what I said. And I'm not saying it's not lying. Like, it is lying, but it's like you're making up stories, like, to try to make up for the fact that you're boring, basically. Like, he don't want her to think that he doesn't want her to think that he's boring. So let me make you think I do some stuff that I don't, so I don't seem like that kind of person. But I'm really just a plain old. But if
you're gonna make up something that you're not getting ready to go do.
Right.
Right. You gonna make up lying about something. Don't lie about something that you getting ready to go ride a horse in about an hour or 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So she's gonna know if you're lying or not because you're gonna be terrified by this horse. Mm-hmm. So like, come on. At least have some kind of common sense.
Yeah.
Some smarts. I mean.
Basically, he was like, it was basically him deflecting, and she was like, "There's no excuse. That you're an introvert. There's no excuse. I don't want to hear it." And that's when they were doing a diary cam, and so he was like in the diary cam. So basically, today was a good day, except I was there, and she drops the cameras like, "I'm not participating in this." He was like, "No, this is good diary cam footage." She was like, "No, it's not. Because here you go again. That's what we're talking about. Like, cut the sarcasm." Because I ain't gonna lie. I'm the type of person, like, I can't do people that do sarcasm all the time. I just can't. I just be like, "Can't you talk regular?" sometimes. But anyway, he asked her, "You mad at me?" And she was like, "Yeah, a little." And so that's how we leave it with that. Because later on, he has to come back and apologize to her when they're out for a walk and they're cutting their initials in some bamboo. And he was like, I apologize for the excessive joking. I know it may come off as negative or complaining. I don't want it to be that way. But I didn't want it to be misleading, because doing that because he wants to come out of his comfort zone. He likes that she's bringing him out of his comfort zone. He was like, "I wouldn't be doing this stuff if you hadn't pushed me. I'm doing it because you're doing it." And so it's kind of like I'm doing it to please you, but I'm also doing it as a benefit to me because I need to come out of my comfort zone. It's almost like, it almost reminds me of Mark the Shark, how, Lindsay was like, he was a chicken finger french fry guy.
Yeah.
And so,
goldfish.
And the Parmesan goldfish at that. I don't know anybody. They make them so people eat them, but I never met anybody that eats the Parmesan goldfish.
No. Well, except for Mark.
I've never. But anyway.
But I want to add to that, though. The biggest question in that scene was, how did she get a knife to Jamaica? Where did she get the
that's
knife?
what I asked. She had one. She was like, "Oh, I got a knife." And he was like, "Of course you would have a knife in your bag. Like you be cleaning fish and stuff." And that's what I thought. I was like, how the freak she get a knife from the United States to Jamaica?
Maybe you can carry knives in your carry-on. Not your carry-on, but your luggage to go underneath the plane. You might get it.
Maybe so, but I still don't think that's...
you can put a knife. Yeah, you can put a knife in that bag. I think so.
But why? I would feel like...
It's just like...
Because I'm sure you can put a weapon. I guess you could put a gun in your bag that's going on the plane too. But, like, I really do feel like TSA would be like, Is somebody in here with a bag that got a knife and a gun?
I think she wants. I mean, again, you have hunters and people who carry knives all the time. That's how that lets you know that she's really an outdoor person.
And it was a flip. You know, big. There was a knife.
But like it's like you know, Cher, I'm a wrestling fan. Stone Cold says you always gotta have a good knife on you. You never know when you need a knife.
But she says I'm a no BS type of person, and he was like, I'm gonna work on it, you know. And he apologized, and she accepted his apology, but she was like, yes, you gotta work on that. So that was really it except for when the couples get together, and the girls get together. That was really it with Dominique and McKinley.
Yeah, wasn't that much. We'll see.
Who else was kind of Nicole and Chris, as always. I like them. I think what's going to mess them up is she's a little too wanting to be loved and be all in this. Because from the preview, I'm like, it gotta obviously the production be setting us up, because it's more to that conversation. But they should be saying to him like, "Do you love me? Am I your favorite wife?" You know,
she's needy.
I mean, she is, because look at what she's had before. Just from the few stories she shared, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is where did you find these guys at?
But do you need affirmation every day?
She might. Especially if that's her love language.
It might be. I'm just saying, the question is, will he get tired of giving her that affirmation every day? I don't think he will. You know, and nothing, I mean, he's not just showed it yet, but every day. I think he'll get tired of giving
a certain type of affirmation.
Right.
But I don't think he'll get tired of giving her affirmation, especially if that's her love language. But anyway.
I'm tired of his onesie night suit.
Bruh, he keeps wearing that burgundy and black striped tank top, wife beater type shirt every day. He slept in it. He's been to the beach with it. He's been at the table when they was eating that dinner on the beach. We see him in the hammock with it on.
But I got the answer to that, though. I figured out what it is. He used to wear... Look, he said it. I only wash clothes once a month.
We ain't got to that.
But I figured out why he always have that up. Because...
Maybe it's just he likes it. Maybe that is his... maybe if it's... I mean, it doesn't explain why he slept in it, but maybe that's his cover-up. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I wear outside, because I think he's had different shorts each time, but... Anyway... Yeah. So, we see them getting in the hammock together, and she says, I like that we snuggle and cuddle at night and in the morning. And he says, you know, he's focused on building an emotional connection, and so they want to wait on sex, but he doesn't want to wait to the point where she feels unwanted, because she says the snuggling and the cuddling lets her know she's wanted, that he's attracted to her, and you know that he likes her. So he doesn't want to, like, he wants to wait on sex and get to know her, but he doesn't, not to the point where he feels like you know, she feels like she's not wanted. Because he says in his last 2 relationships, he said, you know, one was like the really toxic one. We were together for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And they only had sex 3 times.
Yeah, that's a drought.
How?
Maybe she's trying to keep herself.
No.
Well, I don't know. Well, it can't be any worse than what Nicole said, the story she said.
Oh, yeah, I'm about to get to that.
Because at least he had sex 3 times.
She said 3 times. He said 3 times the whole relationship, and he didn't really feel wanted, because he was like, well, if you wanted me in this year and a half, like, you would want to connect with me physically, and you're not. So Nicole said, on the other hand, she had one guy that, like, they had sex a lot. And they, like, kind of used it as a Band-Aid, because, like, it wasn't working in other areas, or she didn't feel like they were there. So it's like, okay, if I have sex with him, maybe he'll want me more, like.
Toxic.
But then she said she had another extreme where, you know, she told a guy, you know, I like to have sex with you, and we don't have sex enough. Like, we never have sex. And he was like, we don't? And Chris was like, he didn't remember. She was like, oh, he was too busy having sex with other people.
Yeah, he was having
like, so he couldn't keep up with
all the people he was having sex with. Yo, that's crazy, right? What kind of dude is you messing with that he doesn't even remember having?
He don't even remember when he had sex with you last because he's having so much sex outside of you.
Right.
Like, you should at least, I'm just saying, I ain't saying it's right, but you should at least keep up track. If I'm cheating on her, at least let me do with her some things so she don't think I'm cheating, which is having sex with her. Because I know she was thinking, well, if he ain't having sex with me, who he having sex with?
all the people that's not named Nicole.
But
wow.
Anyway,
she done picked some guys, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's why she's trying to jump on this Chris train, and she is not going to jump off. It don't matter. She on a runaway train, and it don't matter if it's about to go off the track. But she is not going to jump off the train.
You pick the guy who burns you. You pick the guy who having sex with other people around you.
I feel like that's like the same. I feel like that's the same person.
That's not the same person. No. No way in the world.
I think
that's not the same person.
But anyway, she said, he says, she says, for her, even if the sex was amazing, she was like not completely satisfied because again, she didn't feel like she was wanted. She didn't feel loved. So he said his concern is both of them haven't had sex in a while. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, what if she's not happy with it? Like, will it ruin things? Because again, it's been a while since they both had sex. And she was like, you're going to be fine. We're going to work it out.
Go back to what I said. I say it all the time. Ask her, what does she like? Don't go in there willy-nilly. Don't go in there blind. Don't go in there thinking she's the girl that only gave you sex for 3 months, 3 times in your year. And you and Nicole have a conversation. What do you like? How do you like it? Boom, and you go in there and meet and satisfy her needs. But
she said that too. She was like, I don't expect the first time to be mind blowing. And that's why I said, if you're gonna ask, I feel like we had this conversation for them. If you're gonna ask, I feel like after the first time you ask, because you want to see, okay, so the way we did that, is that the way you like it? Or no. And so she can be like, no, I like this, or yes, I did. And he can say the same thing.
Well, the first time you're doing it, y'all doing it instructional. Y'all talking while you're doing it.
I mean, you could do that too. You could do that too. But anyway, so we see them go kayaking, which is funny, because it took her a minute to kind of get the paddles right.
Yeah.
But she was like, this kayaking is like a perfect metaphor for us. Like, we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to get the hang of it. Mm-hmm. We're going to paddle till we get there. And so while they're in the kayak, he does a little bit of, splashing the water. She was like, look, let me tell you something. That's like a pet peeve of mine. I don't, it's fine right now because you don't know. But like, when you're in the pool, that's a pet peeve. I hate for people to be splashing water in my face. Mm-hmm. And she was like, if you was anybody else, when we was anywhere else, I would really have a problem. But that's an issue. And she said, then I have a problem with SMP, which is slow moving people. Like, walk like you got some purpose. Move out my way.
I would expect that. She's from New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would expect that. Everybody in New York.
But she in the South.
But you're from New York.
Right, but I'm saying, but now you in the South, and it's slower in Nashville.
Nashville, y'all better keep it moving around the country.
So they might do a lot of Sunday driving. It just is what it is.
It's what it is.
But he said for him, it's dishes in the sink, which is ironic because he said, I don't like dishes being left in the sink, but I probably only do my laundry like once a month.
Yeah, you can't have no dishes in the sink, but you can have dirty clothes in the hamper.
They're probably not in the hamper. They're probably on the bed or in somewhere else. But she was like, oh no. For me, I wash clothes maybe twice a week. Now, I think that's excessive.
That is very excessive.
Once a week. Twice a week?
Unless you don't have that much stuff. And my man Chris must have enough drawers to last him the whole month.
He must do. Or else he got them. What movie was that where they had the underwear where you get... it was Scooby-Doo. Yeah. You can wear them right side, inside out, frontwards and backwards, flip the legs.
Yeah, dog.
Unless he got one of them pair of underwear, like, ugh. But
maybe
she says,
got 30 days worth of draws.
Maybe. She says, well, that's fine. I'll be in charge of washing the clothes, doing the laundry. That's not an issue. And he was like, that's another thing. He was like, I kind of was leery about saying that to you and admitting that because I feel like you might be like, I'm too lazy for you. Because he was like, sometimes I go to work and I come home and I don't necessarily feel like taking a shower. I just chill, with me and the dog, and I don't do nothing.
Bow number 2.
I don't do nothing. And she was like, no, that's fine. Like, if you didn't work all day, like, we both work hard. I guess they're in real estate or whatever. We both work hard. So, I understand when you come home, if you don't feel motivated to do anything, I understand. It'd be different if you just was, like, literally lazy, like you haven't done nothing all day and so you're still just sitting around. But she was like, I understand that. I do that too. I come home and I just chill. She was like, but as long as we have the alternative that, we can chill during the work week, but we go out and do things on the weekend.
Yeah. She mentioned you got a chair that she sits in and just relax.
Yeah, so I'm on the same page with you with that. And he was like, he likes that they're both fully committed and they're sharing between each other. And so, he's looking forward to so many more things. And he was like, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. I like them.
They have a good conversation. I think they converse very well with each other. I think they, they open and they moving at their pace. They're moving at their level. They're not worried about anybody else. They're moving according to them. And I think the conversation with them is just so open. It's so nice. I do see some things that I would be worried about if I was Nicole. Nicole. Would be, the cleanliness of how Chris is. The dog laying in the bed and then all that other stuff that's going on. And then you're not washing for a month. So that means you got the dirty dog outside and then he comes hops in the bed. I don't know how that, I don't know how that goes. So then you have the other thing with Nicole. If I was her, if I was Chris, I'd be worried about the fact that Nicole seems like she's that neat freak. I understand about cleaning, but when you do too much, that can irritate somebody. Mm-hmm. So there is a balance between those two.
But he said it takes a lot to get him frustrated, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, do we want to go Shaquille and Kirsten or Kirsten? I've heard it both ways now. I think she said Kirsten. Pastor Cal in the little in-between said Kirsten.
Let's go Shaq and Kirsten. S&K.
Well, I wasn't fit. Yeah. Them or Jasmine and Airris is what I was trying to say because I got lost on her name. But anyway, Shaquille and Kirsten / Kirsten, definitely not Kristen though.
No, definitely.
They go and meet up with some guys that's teaching them some dance hall moves. And I was like, okay. Shaquille was like, both of them love music and they like dancing. And so they both agreed to do this activity. And they was in there really getting their little groove on or whatever. And so she was like, I really enjoyed it. She felt the connection with the two of them dancing because outside of the dance hall moves, like they really taught them a whole routine. Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you, we would not be able to do that.
No, we would not because I'm not that dancer. I'd have tried. I wouldn't have been like a McKinley. I wouldn't have lied neither. I would have tried it. Y'all wouldn't have seen it on video, but I would have tried it.
Yeah.
I can dance a little bit.
I want. Is it anyway? I know we're live right now, but I'm gonna need it spliced with that video your daughter got of you in the choir stand a couple of Sundays ago. And you tell me, do you think he can dance? He can't hardly clap. But anyway.
I can clap.
But anyway.
I got jokes.
She said, she's getting to know his big personality on that level. And so she's tapping in to, how Shaquille is. They had a good time dancing or whatever. So fast forward, because we're going to talk about this later, but this is what happens with them. She comes back. We might have to.
I gotta hit it, because go ahead.
Okay. So at one point, so I'm pausing on Shaquille and Kirsten because they talk about something that happened in between. So we see where the guys get together and then the girls get together. Mm-hmm. And when the girls get together, they actually talk about a conversation that the couples had. So I'm going to go to that too. So at one point, all the couples get together and, you know, just kind of meet up because they're the only ones that are in this process. The only other people that can relate are people from previous Married at First Sight. But they're the only couples at this resort that got married at first sight. And so this is a chance for them to get together and, you know, chat and just see where everybody stands or whatever. And so they start joking, talking about, oh, Shaquille and Kirsten, you finally made it here. We're so glad you came. We didn't have any fun without y'all. We're going to have fun while you're here. And so the question was, have anybody had their first disagreement? And Clint jokes and was like, oh, yeah, she brought out the gloves. She tried to box me, haha. And they're like, no, okay. Dominique and McKinley is like, there haven't been any disagreements between them. But for her, she's trying to understand his sense of humor. And, like, is it true or is he just talking out of his tail? I'm trying to understand. That's been their thing. For Nicole and Chris, you know, she says, I realized that Chris is very calming and he's patient. And that helps her. You know, he's very complimentary to her and for her. And like she said, in that space, I had a really firm date for when we would have sex. I was like, on the second night, we finna have sex. And she was like, I had to bend on that because we're not there yet. We're just trying to get that emotional connection. And in his vignette, I think Airris was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, sis had a time frame. She might be the only woman out here that had a time frame.
Well, you know, my man Airris had a time frame too, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Jasmine and Airris, you know, he shared how he shocked her with his confession about never being in love. But you know, maybe she could be his first love. And one of the girls was like, yeah, his first love, your first love and your only love. And Clint asks, instigating. Clint asks, oh, so have you blown her back out yet? Which he talked about earlier, before the weddings at the bachelor party. And Clint has to explain, I said that based on a historical reference from the bachelor party. Because everybody was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think Clint should have brought that up. I just think that should have been something that he should have left between the guys at the bachelor party.
Yeah.
Because that could have went south, right? And it's still something that would linger in Jasmine's mind when dealing with Airris. I believe when they get to that part, when we talk about them, that's still something that's in her mind. Because we saw prior to that how they had how he had told her that he wanted a slow pace. So I just wanted to give a reference there, not cross over to Jasmine and Airris.
So Clint asked, has anybody seen your partner naked? And everybody, which I was very surprised, everybody was like, no.
That's very surprising. By this time, I think we would have seen each other naked.
Partly. Like, maybe no tops but bottoms.
See, you go to the bathroom, at least be in the bathroom brushing your teeth half naked.
They said no. McKinley was like, you know, we've had a whole lot of cuddles, but ain't seen each other naked, you know, to come naturally. Jasmine and Airris. Airris says, yeah, we've been going pretty slow, you know. I think she's very attractive, but we really just been at first base. And, like, I'm a very, very sexual person, but I realize that hasn't served me well in the past, so I'm thinking of, you know, I'm trying to take a different approach. Okay? So, hold that thought in your mind, okay?
Hold that thought.
Shaquille and Kirsten says, you know, we've had, like, the same conversation. You know, we're getting to know each other. But she was like, I gotta be honest, like, I wasn't feeling his bald head. I told him I wasn't feeling his bald head. But other than that, he checks all the boxes. So, you know, I'm past the bald head and trying to, you know, go further.
Is she really?
Yes.
Based
on what he said at the after party, I would say no. But
if you keep bringing it up, are you really over it?
No, she's definitely not over it. But that don't mean she can't get past it. You know?
She need to get past it. I mean, the bride ain't growing no hair no time soon.
Well, when it's
can you allow somebody to, if they don't check every box off? Because I don't think anybody checks everybody's box.
Oh no.
All the boxes, right?
Oh no.
There's somebody who misses a part of the box. You miss something. So you still move on. I don't get this. Check every box situation. Check the box situation don't work.
But then Gina and Clint share, and this when the ish kind of hits the fan. Because Gina's like, she's been there before where there wasn't an initial attraction, there was no spark, but attraction grew after a while, and that's been their biggest struggle is physical attraction. But they have kissed several times. And so Clint says, the girls I've typically dated were athletic and slender. And so that's the mold that he's attracted to. But, I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And she said she don't like redheads. So here we are. And she was like, yeah, here we are. And Dominique and Nicole in their vignettes, Dominique was like, my mouth hit the floor. I couldn't believe he said that. And actually, they were like, she's like, bro, read the room. You don't see all these people.
All these curvy women.
What? All these curvy women. And then you don't see how you just shock the socks off of everybody. Like, everybody was looking like.
His comment was, and should have been, the same place she gave him her comment by themselves. I think that was the biggest issue. The biggest issue that he said it out loud. Now, did he say he didn't like her? He didn't say she was ugly. He just said what he's used to dating was slender women and athletic women. Didn't say he wouldn't grow to like her. Didn't say he wouldn't go and maybe still want to be with her. Didn't say he wasn't attracted. What he said was he was attracted to slender and athletic women.
Which infers that I'm not slender or athletic, which she gets into with him later.
Right, but does not necessarily mean that I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah.
Because she said, again, she told him he wasn't attracted to ginger and redheads, so, but you still trying to make it work. I'm not attracted to slender and athletic, I'm attracted to slender and athletic women, which you're not, but we're still going to try to make it work.
Mm-hmm. So while I'm right there, so that was very ugly. We'll come back to them horseback riding. That was very ugly. And so when the girls get together, they talk to Gina about this conversation. She was like, they asked her, how have you been since the conversation yesterday? And she was like, I'm glad y'all picked up on it because, yeah. Nicole was like, bro, I promise you I would have stopped him in the neck.
Right.
I would have stopped him. Yeah. I would have stabbed him in the throat. And, they were all like, how can he say that? Jasmine was like, bruh, what the heck? And, Nicole said it was like a collective feeling of, really? It was offensive to all of them. And Gina was like, the crazy part is my waist is only a 26. Really, I'm slim and athletic. And to put in perspective, he probably was talking about skin and bones is what he usually is used to. And all of these women got meat on them.
But how are they offended? He's talking about her.
Because they're all shaped like that.
But all of them don't date Clinton.
But still.
How are you offended by the comment he made to you? Why are you offended?
Because I think I could be offended even if it doesn't necessarily apply to me because I consider this person a friend of mine. Right. Or, I can relate like Nicole said. I think she said this on the after party. Was it the after party? She was like I've been in that space where I felt inadequate about my looks and my shape and everything. And Dominique was on the after party, but Dominique said that. I've been in that space. She said I'm a little on the chunkier side. And so what you do is they've put themselves in Gina's shoes and I'm offended. Honestly, in that space, I probably would have been offended, but I honestly would not have been the person to sit there and say that. I was like, you ain't all that.
They both were wrong because of what she said and he said. But again, hers was in private, his was in public, and which made it seem much worse because now she's like, you said this in front of all my girls, and I feel some type of way. It was a little bit of embarrassment that was there. I wouldn't have said it. Even if that was my type, because again,
I would have said it, just not like that. I typically I would just be most of the girls that I dated before were. I wouldn't say I typically that's.
But the expert, or you could have put on the end, the expert chose to give me something different. I don't know.
Because that hasn't worked out for me.
Because it hasn't worked out for me. So something to clean it up in that nature, because it hadn't worked out for me, but Gina, blah, 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 blah. So I mean, that's how you could carry it, and not the way it came off. He said on after party, he apologized. He could have said it differently, and he should have said it differently.
He said he would have left off the part about size altogether.
Right.
He would have said, I just prefer somebody more athletic or adventurous. No, he said adventurous. But anyway, so Gina said she woke up still disturbed about it, and she was like, I'm gonna have to talk about it later. But the one thing they did, I think it was Kirsten said, was like, you know, I would hate for you to get stuck on this and miss out on something great because of this snafu.
But
like,
look at it's like the pot calling the kettle black.
Was it Kirsten that said it? I think it was.
If it's her, that she's stuck on the fact that a man got a bald head.
I don't think she's stuck there, but
she's stuck.
She can't stop talking about it.
That means you stuck.
Well, I don't think she's stuck on it, but she's gonna keep talking about it. But anyway, so then let me shift gears and go back to Shaquille and Kirsten. So we're back. We're back, because then I'm gonna get back into the other girls and guys conversation. But Kirsten shares, you know, we had a good time with the girl talk. You know, that's what I needed. I need the girl talk, and we just took some time and uplifted Gina. And you know, Shaquille was like, well, do you feel like Clint was wrong? And Kirsten was like, well, it was the way he said it. It's fine to have your preference, or it's fine to say that's been my MO. You know, I think about another Chris. I think Alyssa was like that. You know, you have an MO, you know, a typical type, but obviously that's not working for you. So Kirsten acknowledged, you know, it was the way he said it. And, you know, Shaquille said, well, I don't think Clint was wrong. And he wasn't. But it's just the way you said it. He was wrong for the way he said it. And so this is when Shaquille kind of throws Airris under the bus, going to the guys' conversation. And he says, like Airris said, he wasn't attracted to his wife.
Yo, Shaq's wrong for that. Stop snitching, man. If something happens in the barbershop, or when men are having a conversation, when men are talking, you don't go back and tell the other man's wife what he said. It has to be some kind of code that goes there. It is a law, unwritten rule. What happens in the confines of men having a conversation should stay in what men have a conversation. I have a problem with Shaq.
Yeah.
I have a big problem. Stop dry snitching.
Yeah. Kirsten was like, but he just said she was beautiful. Why would he say that? And this the part that I had an issue with Shaquille. Because he said, oh, he might have been saying it to make her feel good. No. That is not what happened. Because you can absolutely think somebody is beautiful and not be attracted to them.
Correct.
So I don't think he did that to make her feel good. She's a pageant queen. I ain't never seen an ugly pageant queen. So obviously people think she's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Kirsten was like, no, don't lie. Be honest. And, you know, then Shaquille was like, it's not necessarily that he lied. He tried to clean it up. But anyway.
I'm about to call him Justin number 2. Can you say that?
Kirsten said, you know, I'm going to always say what I said. So just know, whatever I say about you, I don't have no problem saying it to you. Like she said, Dominique said the same thing about Mac that she about to say about Shaquille. Was like, I feel like you play around too much. You joke around too much. It's a time and a place for everything. And she was like, you know, you play around a little bit too much. She was like, what's a little bit? And again, her thing was, it's a time and a place. And when I feel like it's too much, because I don't have no problem with you joking, I'm not trying to change you, I'll be like, hey, Shaquille, that's enough. That's enough. And again, she said it depends on time and place. She likes that he jokes, but within reason. And he was like, what? So you trying to change me? She said, no, I want you to be yourself. I want you to be yourself. In his vignette, what she said was, I'm not going to let you make me change myself. I like to have fun. I'm going to have fun. And so when he was there talking to her, he said, you know, I feel like you have this guard up. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to understand. And I'm trying to be me. And you don't like that. And she was like, no, be you, honey. And she explained, she was like, you know, like right now, you said that you could take criticism, but it seems like you can't take criticism. So she was like, I'm done talking about it because we're talking in circles. But
yeah, she's like, I don't do circles.
Yeah, not like Zach.
Yeah,
Zach and Mindy Zach. Yeah, me was the circle talker. But she says, you know, but don't change. But I want you just to be more aware of where you are, where we are. And you might not be able to joke and play right now to get to know each other.
Once you know it's a time and place for that.
Yeah, I want to get to know you. And he was like, I can respect that. I understand that. I see where you're coming from. So instead of talking in circles, even though she said she was done with it, she said, let me just explain it a little better. Be you. I want you to be you, but kind of temper it till we get to know each other, till we can feel each other out. Kind of like what Dominique told McKinley. I need to know.
Are you serious?
Are you serious or joking? And once I get the feel of that, then I'll be like, okay, I won't take offense to it or whatever.
But is it a mechanism that they use to deflect? Is it a mechanism
most
to use
definitely.
to deflect emotions and feelings because they hide behind the laughter and joking?
Yeah, most definitely.
And I think that the same thing with Shaq and McKinley. That's why they're deflecting in their relationships.
Mm-hmm. So, let me go back to, I went through everything when the couples were together. So we see they go horseback riding, and that's when McKinley, bro, he was like really freaking out
about
the horse. The horse crapped in the water. First of all, their horses really waded in the water. I was like, I would rather just ride the horse on the beach. Like,
but you still
they had a whole,
too,
bro. I'm just not trying to get swept away with the tide on no horse.
No, the horse is, I mean, the water's not deep enough. It's deep enough for the horse to dip his feet in the ground.
You said that last night, but it's not about it being deep. If a freaking wave comes through, I don't care what you say.
You get the little life thing around your waist.
I know, but that ain't going to help. That is not going to stop. That just means I'm not going to fall off or drown. I'm still going to get, like, crashed by the wave. I wouldn't choose to ride no horse through no water. And it was almost up to the horse's back. So I hear what you're saying about it not being that deep, but them horses was not short. That's all I'm saying.
But you got protection there.
I know. But anyway, so she said she felt like what he said was a slap in the face, you know, about the all that he said with the horseback riding. And Jasmine acknowledged that after Clint's rude comment, she wasn't checking for him. And McKinley says, you know,
Clint's public enemy #1.
Yeah, I admit I can't, I couldn't ride a horse after all that. And like I said, they go in the water. He was like, I don't call this adventurous. It's just, riding a horse in the water. Ooh, we walked down the beach, we went through the water and came back. Like, what's the adventure in that? McKinley was just a mess.
But you scared of horses.
But we go again. Let me go back to the guys and girls conversation, because they have this after they all get together and after they go horseback riding. Nicole talks about how she and Chris have a little anxiety about living together because they've never lived with the person before. Chris acknowledged the same thing when he's talking to the guys. He says, we're vibing real well. She likes to hold hands more than him, and he likes to touch though. But again, they're both concerned about living together. That's where they have to, where they're gonna be at. Dominique talked about McKinley complaining. She was like, he's cute to her, but that's a turn off. Like, trying to get his sense of humor and all the complaining. She was like, that's a turn off. That's something she got to work on.
What you complaining about? I mean, complaining about the horse, complaining about, you're in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. Enjoy Jamaica.
And with the guys, McKinley was like, I'm more introverted than her. And really all this stuff is kind of overwhelming to him. And so
it's a lot.
He's overcompensating. So he's trying to be, to him being stupid is funny. But he has to compromise and kind of temper that. So that's what he talked about with the guys.
Sound like frat boy. I'm going to call him. He seems like a frat boy.
Mm-hmm. With the girls, Kirsten was like, Shaquille was joking. And sometimes it's cool, but other times it's not okay. They ask how Jasmine and Airris are doing. And Jasmine says, I hope there's some sexual chemistry there that can grow. She felt pressured when Airris shared that he's never been in love before. Like, well, what if you don't fall in love with me? Like, I have to put in all this extra effort. Mm-hmm. And the girls talk about, has anybody had sex yet? Everybody's like, no. Kirsten was like, which is so funny that she has this conversation. She's like, but, you know, what if when you do, it's not good? Dominique said, bro, I told you, you know me. It's a store down the street.
I got my toys.
I know where to get toys from. And they were like, yeah, we know you got the toys. We know you got the toys.
She keeps her toy, huh? She keeps her toys on deck. I mean, Kirsten, I'm always funny because when you get to that point, you haven't even really kissed them like that or cuddle, and now you're talking about sex, and what if it's not good? I think sometimes when you do that, you set yourself up for failure. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you have this anticipation, you have this mind of what you think it should be, and when it's not what you imagine or what you thought it should be, then you can say it's not pleasing or good. But you didn't help him get you to your place.
Yeah. So in the guys' conversation, when Chris shares about Nicole, Clint says, well, I think Nicole's going to kick your tail. You know, and I'm concerned. And Clint is the old man of the group. And even though I wonder about him sometimes, he did drop some wisdom, was like, you know, Chris, I think you're so mild-mannered and a nice guy. She's going to push you over if you don't stand your ground. So I encourage you to stand your ground. She's going to test you. You're a real accommodating guy. So get some cojones.
Yeah, you got to stand there. He can't be a pushover. It can't be the yes man. Everything can't be a yes. There's going to have to be some times where he does have to say no. And when he says no, like Clint said, put your foot down. Put your foot down, brother, and stand 10 toes down on your decision. And know that's okay.
The one thing Chris said is he could appreciate what Clint had to say. And he said, you know, when Clint starts talking, we really just kind of let him have the show. Because Clint does Clint.
Clint just goes on and on and on. But it makes sense, though.
Yeah, Clint talks about how, you know, McKinley and Shaquille, like, trying to be funny and stuff. How that could curtail things between them and their spouse. And, you know, you want to, I know you do that sometimes because you want to look good. You want to come off looking good to them. But a lot of us do that, and he said you do that in like 50 relationships, and then you realize you didn't serve yourself by not being yourself. So you might as well just be 100% self off the rip, and either they like it and they love it, or they don't.
Or they don't.
You know, because you got to see what the compatibility.
You got to be who you are. I mean, in the situation, whether married first sight, whether it's new job, new school, whatever case may be, you have to be yourself.
Shaquille shared that Kirsten kind of told him, like, every time he talks to him, she feels like he's giving her a speech. Like, she joked and was like, who are you, Martin Luther King? And he said, but in the alternative, she's not very vulnerable. Like, so I'm trying to talk to her, but... So that's why I come off like a speech, because you're not opening up.
No,
it's just me doing a lot of talking.
It's not going back and forth. It's not reciprocal.
They asked Airris how everything is going. He was like, you know, it's going smooth, but... Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, she's like at a 12 as far as attraction, and I'm more like at a 4 or 5. Yeah. And like he said, I feel bad. I feel almost guilty because she is attractive. She's just, you know, but my type is different. Again, same thing as Clint. My type is different. Like it's not that she's not attractive. Yeah, so McKinley's the boob man. Airris is the butt man.
And
he's like, she don't got...
Yams.
She don't have no booty.
Yeah, no booty.
She don't have no booty.
All right, which is Airris.
Which I expect I have yet to see a pageant queen.
We know one.
I was gonna say that. We have a lovely girl that was one of our youth at church, and she's a beauty queen. She's shaped. She got a black girl shape. But for the most part, like the pageants that Jasmine's been in, it ain't really made for the shapely. So, but anyway, Clint. Then they talk about the whole convo that Clint had about Gina's shape and everything, and Mac was like, you know, you said that she was thicker. Clint was like, no, I said I date more slender and athletic, and he's like, I'm very conscious about not trying to offend people. I'm trying, you know, about people's feelings. So I did not say that. And they were like, "What? You didn't say that, but when you said that this is your type, you implied that she's not, because she's not like that." And he was like, "You know, it's not physical. It's not really physical. It's just like all she ever talks about is her business." And in her salon. And I almost feel like her being here, being on the show, it's about promoting her business. Like, because that's all you talk about. And McKinley was like, you know, I've been in small business before. And sometimes when you're trying to build a small business, when you've been, you know, you pour yourself into it. And so that's all that comes out of you. Because you spend so much time, your time is consumed with building your business. And then homeboy said...
He dropped the bomb on him. Here we go, McKinley.
He said, I think Gina's sexy, bro. You crazy.
You crazy. Now, my mouth dropped at this point because I'm sitting here like, yo, you call this man's wife sexy and like that he crazy for not wanting to be with her. Aren't you looking at your own wife? You supposed to be getting to know your girl here in a minute. You supposed to know your wife and you looking at somebody else's and talking about she's sexy.
McKinley in his vignette, he
Y'all
was
don't
like...
know me like that.
McKinley, his vignette, bro, he was like, I don't know what type of girls Clint be pulling. Or he pulled before. But I don't see him pulling girls that's better looking than Gina. I'm like, what goddamn?
Yo, he went there.
He said, I can't see whatever he was pulling. I can't imagine them looking better than Gina.
McKinley sound like he wants to taste some of that.
I mean, don't it though?
Sound like he want to take some of that Gina juice.
Don't it though? So we gonna save them for last. So for Jasmine and Airris, we see them go for a couple massages. And, you know, they talk about the fact that she said him not being in love, it scared her. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was like, if there's anything I can do to help relieve your stress, alleviate your stress, you know, just let me know. And she was like, just don't drop no more bombs on me. He was like, well, I didn't think that was a bomb that I dropped on you when I said that, but I don't really think I got many more. If that was a bomb, I just don't think I have anything else. And so then, during the couples massage, the masseuses...
Masseuses.
Is that... I don't know if that's...
Masseuse.
Is that how you say... So, is more than one masseuse just masseuse is like...
Yeah. Like moose.
Yeah, is it? It ain't meat.
It's not meat.
It's a joke.
Nah, it's a joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke. You have to go search it up. Moose and meats. But anyway, after... Is more than one masseuses or just...
Masseuse, I think.
Anyway, so they leave, and so Jasmine is there rubbing Airris's legs down. You know, she's rubbing his legs, and she was like, I think this is the most touching that we've done the whole time since we got married. And he was like, you know, I'm moving at a comfortable pace for you. Okay? For us.
Yeah, about to say for us, because he said comfortable pace for you has been an issue. But she feels...
He said I'm moving at a comfortable pace for us.
Us. Because she feel like, hold on, bro, you the same when I was talking about sex and downward dog and other things. Now, how you switch the game up real quick?
Yeah, she was like, that makes her leery. She said she feel like she said, I feel like you're being sarcastic by saying that. He was like, no, I'm not. And like you said in her vignette, she was like, you went from asking me what's my favorite sex position to, oh, now we're moving at a slow pace. Like, I don't trust it.
Confused.
I don't trust it.
He's confused or he's manipulating the game.
No, I really do think it's what he said. It was like, that didn't serve him well. And so I'm trying to make a conscious effort not to do that. So then we see them chatting about when the couples had their meeting and what Gina and Clint conversation, what they said to each other. And Airris was like, bro, they low-key called each other ugly.
Yeah, they low-key called each other ugly. They did.
He was like, they low-key called each other ugly.
I mean, I wouldn't call it ugly. They just had concerns about the person's attraction. I mean, she didn't call him ugly. She's like, I'm not really into gingers. And he was like, yo, I usually say like slender and athletic builds and not calling her ugly. I don't know.
But
I wouldn't have thought that.
Jasmine shared that, you know, like, yeah, Nicole was saying, you know, maybe they're just taking it slow, you know, but maybe she don't like him. Jasmine was like, well, some people can say the same thing about you.
Yeah. Because
you so very, very sexual, and so you not like that with me, so maybe you don't actually like me, which she don't know the conversation that he had, that the attraction level was like a 4.5. 4.5. 4.5 to 5. But
when she find that out though, whatever he thought, he better get the draws before she find out.
Ooh, Airris says,
because if she find out after that, before that, he ain't get no draws.
Yeah, Airris says you can never say how you will respond. You know, this is like he talked about how Nicole was like she had, you know, a certain date that she wanted to have sex, you know, and what he was saying was you might say you want it or expect it to be like this from the jump, but once you get into the experience, you can never tell how the experience is going to go. So, you know, he was like, I'm feeling kind of a friend vibe right now more than anything. And you seen a preview later where she's like, I didn't come into this for no friend. I came for a husband. I ain't feeling that.
Came for a man, a husband.
Later on, we see them meet each other on the beach. And she asked, you know, how was your guy time? And he was like, it was cool. It was therapeutic. Everybody got a little something off their chest, basically, is what he was saying. And so Jasmine...
See, he didn't break the man code.
No, he didn't. It was about him.
But I'm saying, though,
he the one that said it.
He didn't break the man code, but somebody else, though.
He was the only one that said something there that would be like revealed.
Yeah, but no man code broken.
Jasmine says, you know, she shared that that they talked about the him not being in love thing before, you know, how that was an eyebrow raise and she feels the pressure. And Airris was like, well, it'll be a challenge, but you know, it takes a lot for him to fall in love. How would you know that? You ain't never been in love.
Yeah, but I done had sex before, and that's what he's equating. He's been equating love with sex or sex with love, and that's not what it is.
Jasmine says, you know, I don't want to hold back. You know, I've never been the first to say I love you, and I don't want to be caught out there and say it, and then you don't say it in return. Like, she's like, I'm just not where, I'm not that vulnerable where I'm going to say that
right
and put myself out there. Airris was like, you know, I think everyone needs to pump the brakes. Like all the couples, that's what he said. And she was like, well, I'm not there. I'm not saying I'm there. I'm not there yet. I'm just letting you know in advance. If you expected me to say it, I probably won't, because for one, that's not me. For two, you ain't gonna catch me slipping and have me bare my whole soul, and then I ain't getting nothing from you.
Yeah, and then on the decision day, I bare my whole soul. I put all this into it. I love you, and you be like, do you want to stay married?
That's nice. No, not even worse. We stay married, but I love you. That's nice.
That's nice.
Airris says, you know, this whole conversation just feels awkward. For him, it's just a thing that time will solve that awkward feeling. Mm-hmm. And for him, you know, he feels like they're moving in the right direction, in the direction they should be. And she said, you know, she's assured that he's good with, he's up for the peaks and valleys that they'll experience. So that made her feel a little bit better.
It made her feel a little bit better, but again, at the same time, Airris' mind has changed, and his body has changed, and language has changed, and the attraction has changed because she won't have sex with him. I firmly believe when she told him that I'm a lady, I don't want to do this, I'm not going to talk about that, his mind went right, she's not attractive, because he used to people who are having sex with him. The reason that he ain't been in love is that he hasn't been in longer term relationships. Most long-term relationships turn into love. Mm-hmm. And when you keep just hit them and quit them, you ain't got love.
So last but not least, we see Gina and Clint, and I'm just gonna blow through the first part because I'm gonna get to the nitty gritty. So they go to the pool. They have floating breakfast out there. You know, she says she feels like they're getting closer with each other every day. Except they have had the little hiccup with a lack of physical attraction. He said he's looking forward to getting back home so he can take her sailing on Dang It, which are his boats.
2 boats.
And she says, you know, I don't even really relax in Nashville. He was like, oh, I relax on my boats. And this is where she goes off. He was like, you know, I'm gonna help you relax because I want you to work smarter, not harder. You ever heard of that? And she was like, well, you know, with my job and my salon, and then with my salon, and when I have my clients, and when I do this and do that. And he was like, I'm pretty much, I got a standard work day. Yeah. I work 8 to 5, and I know how to relax. And she was like, no, I have long days, and she just went on and on and on.
I got weekends, I got this.
And he was like, I'm trying to get deeper with her to really get to know who Gina is, but she just keeps talking about her salon.
Because that's her life. I mean, I understand there's other things she do, but her life is her salon.
But
she's built it for 10 years. Majority of her hours are in her salon. So that's all she knows.
But I need you to tell me about, what's your favorite color? What do you like to eat? Like, we've talked about the salon enough. let's get into something else. That's what he's trying to say. We see them later on the swings, and Clint was like, it seems like after they meet up with the couples, everybody seems like they're in a good place. But we've kind of got like a an uphill battle that we have to go against. And she was like, she gave him the one word answers because she's still mad about the slender and athletic conversation. And she was like, it just feels pretty offensive to bring up someone's weight in a negative way right in front of a group of new friends. And so that's where she's stuck. And while he's talking, she's like,
But it's offensive to bring up someone else's hair they had no control over.
Right. And, she said, I feel so offended, like I don't have any words right now. And he was like, I think we're still growing, and, we should still be on Front Street and be real. And, like, she, again, one word answers him, not really into the conversation. And we already know Clint has a problem reading the room, and he, like, totally misses it.
He misses it.
So when they get up with each other later after the girls and guys connection, she says, I don't know if you noticed, but I was quiet earlier. I was processing. He was like, yeah, I kind of did notice. And she was like, after yesterday, like, I was offended with the weight comment.
Yeah.
And he was like, but you preluded that, like.
Yeah.
You alluded to that when we had a whole conversation about gingers. Like, you don't think saying I don't like gingers might be offensive? And she was like, no, I'm a hairdresser. I work with redheads. And then he was like, but, and he explained it on After Party. And it's true, because Ryan did the same thing with Brett. It's like fiery redheads. You call them gingers with the freckles and the pale skin. And, it's a stereotype that maybe not all. And he's not even the reddish-headed person I've seen. Like,
but it's her way of saying I'm not attracted. This is what I don't like. Instead of like Kirsten saying I don't like to bear bald head, she's saying, you know what? I don't deal with the whole red.
And his thing is, why is it okay for you to say that I don't usually date gingers, but it's not okay for me to say this is what I typically date?
Right. Or him to say I don't date plus size women.
But he didn't say that.
He didn't say that, but that's what he's implying.
You know what I'm saying? And so he was like, so did you think calling gingers might be offensive? So you're going to sit here and exonerate yourself and excuse yourself, but put me on the hook? Like, no. And he was like, it was not my intention to offend you. I was just sharing my history. And I don't have no problem with that. She was like, well, you need to learn how to read the room. All the girls there thought you were rude, thought your comment was rude. They all shapely. Like, read the room. You should not have said that.
But reading the room, when the question was brought up, the room was having a conversation.
Right.
So he felt as if he could say this in this room and not be offensive. He felt he could say this in the room and that every woman in there would not jump on him. He felt he could say in the room, you know what, this is what I used to date because this is what we have, and we're having that conversation. So again, we're having that dialogue, and so he feels like he can say that. And so it doesn't make him a bad person. She felt like she could say the ginger comment to him, and it was good. She is just upset because it was in front of people.
Yeah, basically.
The embarrassment comes because she's in front of people.
Because Clint said on After Party, they had this whole conversation, even more so between the two of them. So this was really just a continuation of that conversation. So he felt like it was okay to bring it up because in that space they were talking about it, and she brought up the lack of physical attraction, and so he just thought he would go into detail, but I guess she didn't expect him to go like that. But
she wasn't ready.
Clint was like, I was just being honest, about who I typically match with, but I didn't match myself. The experts did, and so that's not what happened here. And it's not like I'm saying I'm not going to try. I'm going to try. And so he said, I'm sorry you felt that way. It's no fault to you at all. And Gina was like, you don't think you said anything wrong. And, maybe it's best that we spend the rest of the honeymoon apart because I'm done. And she walks off, and Clint was like, you should be done. Now, Clint, This part I was like,
she's wrong. No,
she was wrong, but he didn't help none. Talking about you should be done. Oh yeah, she leaving because she ain't got a leg to stand on. What a shame. Look how the tide has turned. Oh, when you lose, you default to having to walk away. What an adult thing to do, trying to play the blame game on me. Is there some redemption there? Hard to say, he said. You know, it's making him think. But for her, she was like, I expected some remorse, you know, realizing, you know, he's not the type to talk at you. She said, I'm realizing he's the type to talk at you. That's a real red flag for her. But like Clint, after that, she walked off like he didn't go in like one of us, like he went in. He was like, oh, that's real grown up of you to walk away.
He went through it. He went all the way in because again, he felt embarrassed. He felt his manhood was challenged. He felt that it's the situation that or what he said was petty and she shouldn't have been upset. Now, granted, as in a husband or in a wife relationship, you have to be considerate of the other person's feelings.
Yes. You
have to be considerate of the other person's feelings and gotta be considerate of what the other person's insecurities are. And so he found out what her insecurity is, that she doesn't like her. She likes her body, but she don't want anybody to talk about her body, especially the man that she's with. And so he understand that. Now when they started going back and forth, tit for tat, there's got to be a point in time that somebody has to be growing in a relationship and say, you know what, I'm not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not doing this. I'm just going to be quiet. You know what, you're right. Let's fix it. We're in Jamaica for all get up. We're supposed to be having a good time. I'm not supposed to be arguing with you because of a comment I made. I apologize if I offended you. We continue to do our honeymoon. You don't need to explain anything. Let's keep it moving.
And I think the thing about it is, it's like too extreme. So you talk about me being a ginger, and that's something that he cannot control. Let's be real.
Right.
You can control your weight. A lot of us have a problem doing that. But I've been doing good.
Oh, you have? I'm proud of you.
Yes, I have just so you know, I have maintained a 50-pound weight loss through the pandemic and some. Okay? Just so you know, because I'm doing good. That's for my doctor too, dude. Knock you out next time I see you. But anyway, but I think that's the contrast too, because he was like, you know, I said something about weight, but you can lose weight, you can gain weight. What can I do about being a ginger?
I can't.
I can dye my hair, but I'm still a redhead. I'm still a natural redhead. And maybe some of those attributes and characteristics and personality traits that are associated with redhead, I can't change that. You can change your build. You can't change your frame, but you can change what's on the frame. So I think that's what he was trying to say, and what she wasn't getting. Like, you talking about gingers, that's out of my control. That's like, you know, when people say, I don't like this particular race, and I'm going to stay black.
But it's my preference, though. Again, you got to have a preference. In this case, you gave up all your preference when you signed up for Married at First Sight.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest issue they got to deal with. When you sign up for Married at First Sight, whatever you used to like or whatever you desire to like, you gave that up because now you left it up to the experts to make I don't want to say expert decision, but to make their decision.
Especially for Dominique and McKinley,
yeah,
who is vague on their freaking application. I think everybody else is probably specific, and they like kind of ignore your stuff. But I also think they probably didn't get as technical as to say, I want a slim, athletic person.
Yeah.
Or I don't want a ginger. But I think they probably was pretty specific. But we know Dominique and McKinley both acknowledged they were not.
No, not at all.
But like you said, whatever your preferences is, you can throw that out, because the reason you're Married at First Sight is because your preferences haven't worked out for you. And when we talk about preferences, we talking about personality, characteristics, and looks. Mm-hmm. Maybe what you're looking for as far as characteristics is not in the package that you're used to getting.
Yeah, it is. I think both of them have a lot of growing up to do. I think, can they salvage this relationship? It's going to be hard because she walked off and she's ready to go. He's going to be, and he seemed like he's not the one that apologizes to me. And based off the little rant that he went on, it seemed like he holds things. So if he holds things and she holds things, this couple's not gonna come out of Jamaica very well. Good, they're coming out of Jamaica good.
This is a case where I would really like to see the producers step in like they did with,
They did it with Chris and Alyssa.
I'm trying to think. Ronda Rousey's walking chick.
Oh, Ben and Morgan.
Yeah, Ben and Morgan. They stepped in some with Chris and Paige. You know, I would really like to see, since the experts aren't there, I would like to see the producers kind of step in and say, hey, can we sort this out a little bit? Like, what's his name? Tremonte, whatever that producer.
Monte.
Yeah, whatever. Like, I would really, hopefully, the next episode, you know, somebody can.
But the producers, it seemed like she was hot. Like, she didn't want to have anything to do with him. So, I mean, we know time heals wounds. Maybe 2 days later, a day later, maybe when they get back on the plane together, they smooth things out and just had a decent conversation. Maybe,
I don't know, but they ain't showed him in the previews, did they?
I think so, but I mean, he had to go. So they got to leave Jamaica somewhere. I mean, you got to go home. I mean, she got to go back to the hotel room unless she's gonna pull a Michael or Mika and go get her own room.
Never know. But anyway,
only time will tell.
My mouth's dry.
Only time will tell. Hey, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you thought of this episode of Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 6. You dropped a bomb on me. Let us know what you thought. Hit the thumbs up, hit the bell notification, and once again, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you, and enjoy the guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys as well, and we'll see you guys down the road. I appreciate you, and you have a great whatever you watch this afternoon, evening, morning, whatever.